10 symptoms that you may be experiencing as a result of the globalist slow kill depopulation initiation or agenda that is now underway.
It just flat out kills you.
Things like Fukushima.
Fukushima? Did she just bring Fukushima into this?
Toxins in the water.
Chemicals in the water to turn people gay?
No, we've tried those. They only work on frogs.
Oh.
Basically, making your brain more submissive to leading authorities.
Vaccines do not cause autism!
We don't go out punching bananas for being seedless.
It's all so clear now.
The globalist slow kill depopulation initiation.
Submissive people can and will procreate to a level that makes even rabbits blush. And I once bunked with Charlie Sheen. That'll sure leave an impact.
Natasha, stop drinking vodka. We still have to invade Canada.
But vodka is so good, huh?
Natasha, stop drinking the vodka.
Stop drinking vodka. We still have to invade Canada.
We still have to invade Canada.
10 more minutes.
Globalist depopulation agenda.
G'day. What do you mean she's back? Who's back? What? Lisa? Who's Lisa? Oh, Iseth, I'm an Aussie, not a Texan.
Yeah, I get it. You're from Argentina and it's 2 in the morning and I don't care. This is an emergency and I need your help now.
I can't help you now, I'm surfing.
And how about GMOs and toxins in our foods where they're purposefully messing with our food supply and even removing some of the vital things like seeds from the food sources. Nobody really knows exactly the repercussions that we have, but we do see increases in things like cancer.
Lisa, when you throw that out there so flippantly in such a discussion, it really seems disingenuous and belittling to those suffering in life. Damn it, I am no scientist, so I'd love a second opinion. But I can't imagine they haven't looked into what is carcinogenic within our common food supplies, including old and new genetically modified food products. In fact, they have, and you can find it with a simple Google search. But that, my friends, doesn't bring her views.
But it's not just that. We have toxins in our food supply and radiation coming from, well, our cell phones, where we're constantly getting these radiation waves aimed at our heads and aimed at our bodies.
Since you bring up phones, I have a complaint to make. You see, for years I had people tell me that I should keep the phone turned off when sleeping, that I should keep it far away from my body and stop calling my friends so much, because otherwise I will have a cactus growing out of my ear after a couple of years. It is a good decade, if not more, of abusive mobile phone behavior later, and I am still waiting for my free of charge cactus. Seriously though, smartphones generally should not be able to cause damage to your body because they're just not that powerful. There are several experiments and studies concerning frequency radiation from cell phones, and so far there seems to be no evidence that they cause any kind of tumor. On top of that, there is no increase of acoustic neuromas from 2004 to 2010, in spite of the huge increase of cell phone users. As far as I know, there was one experiment where after exposing rats and mice to excessive 2G and 3G radiation for over 2 years, the male rats did have a statistically significant increase in brain and heart tumors. However, the female rats and mice did not have any such changes at all. So in other words, if you happen to be a male rat or mouse, do feel free to use a tinfoil hat when calling grandma. Just keep in mind not to eat it when she upsets you, because as we saw in the previous video, high amounts of aluminum in the body can have an inverse correlation with your sperm quantity. Don't use this, don't use that, some obscure paper somewhere confirms that everything is evil, and so on. I can't imagine living my life like this. The mere paranoia I would inflict on me by doing this would give me a stroke long before any globalist James Bond fella could even start tampering with my water and air.
And when 5G technology gets here, we're all going to be in a world of hurt. And by the way, It's already here. They're already building the system. It's already up and ready to go in areas. And they've turned on portion of this 5G already.
Now, just in case some of you got lost in the whole woo-woo part as much as I do, we're all talking about the next generation of mobile wireless communication. The first generation, 1G, was only for voice calls. The second one, 2G, was digital and allowed people to send text messages and were able to send and receive data to a limited extent. The third generation, 3G, provided higher data transmission, and so for the first time we could actually properly surf the internet with it. And then we got 4G, which was not only faster and more reliable than 3G, but also cheaper. 5G is going to be on another level again in regards to the speed. The difference to the former generation is that higher frequencies of radio wave are utilised, frequencies that were until recently restricted and not allowed to be used commercially. There are places and cases where it has already been used, such as during the 2018 Olympic Winter Games in South Korea. But overall, the technology is not yet available.
And this is very terrifying for one of the things that they're using as a depopulation agent, because it's not just a radius of radiation. You go near one of those things, you always see warning signs. Don't come near radiation, very harmful. But yet they act like it doesn't go outside the 5-foot gate. And it does, and it's very hazardous.
Have you ever wondered why your Wi-Fi connection gets slower and eventually vanishes from your device the further you get away from the router? Or have you ever wondered why you have to raise your voice the further someone is away from you? The signals antennas send out get weaker the further they have to travel, and as a result, any given antenna has a limited range. This also applies to harmful or potentially harmful waves that get sent out. On top of that, antennas also often have a limitation to the direction in which they can actually send the signal, which means that depending on the antenna, the person standing right beneath the phone pole may have less exposure than the person standing 100 feet away from it. So yes, high antennas can indeed be harmless if you stand at the bottom or 5 feet away from them. Now with that settled, let us talk about the 5 feet distance warning signs. You see, as much as it may surprise you, hanging up those boards on the ladders when you have to climb up the tower is rather inconvenient. It makes it a bit more possible that you could, fall down. Not only that, and the fact that climbing people have better things to do than to read warning signs all over the place, but it also seems rather stupid to me not to just hang these warning signs up with every other warning sign that you have to put up, since you have to put up other warning signs in the same place anyway.
Let me show you this article here, and it shows that 5G uses the same EMF waves as the Pentagon crowd control systems.
And that's when the squiddies get you. So the link you've provided sent me to your own page, giving me your 2 source links. The first is entitled 7 Ways to Protect Yourself from the Ruling Elite's World Depopulation Agenda by Paul A. Phillips, published on the site newparadigm.ws. New Paradigm Alternative News and Natural Health. Red flags are blaring, however this isn't the link for me right now. The second link is entitled 5G Network Uses Same EMF Waves as Pentagon Crowd Control System, published on naturalblaze.com, which appears to be yet another independent BS news and alt health promotional propaganda website. This article was written by someone named Terence Newton, the source itself indicating that he is a writer for wakingtimes.com. What journalist, academic or scientific credentials they have, it does not say. But it seems like nothing. Doing just a minute more snooping, I found the application requirements for submitting your own articles to the Waking Times, and it is limited to ensuring it's not too long or short, not redoing something already done, and they encourage lists because it's trendy. They don't require originality, sourcing, or referencing of any kind, qualifications, or even an understanding of the topic. It surely is a high bar set at the Waking Times. The original source link, which has taken the article in question for republication, sets even loftier standards. If you are passionate about natural health, food freedom, organic living, alt medicines, and wellness, then we want to hear from you. it seems no qualified experts are found here either, but a whole lot of paid advertisements ready to pop up over top of your browser, which is always a sign of a high quality, secure and reliable website.
While NotJah was snooping around for sources and reliability, I figured I'd try my own luck and see if I can get to the core of their Pentagon mass control nonsense. I did a 5-second Google search and I found out that this Pentagon crowd control through waves something sounds moderately similar to the Active Denial System, or ADS. It is a system developed by the military which uses millimeter waves for non-lethal crowd control by basically heating up people's skin and thus inflicting pain. It works a bit like a microwave, except it's not a microwave because it uses different frequencies and a different amount of power, and also it doesn't kill you. Which leads me to the 5G networks, because compared to this crowd control system, 5G too uses different frequencies and a fraction of the power. It's a bit like telling you that listening to music is the same as being exposed to a sonic weapon. You know, those things that utterly destroy your eardrums as soon as they shoot at you.
Anyway, now let's get to the crux of her BS. These 5G EMF waves being misleadingly thought to be harmful in the same way as the Pentagon's crowd control. Her source, for lack of better word, briefly describes the utilization of higher frequencies commercially, then spends the following chapters discussing the alleged risks to human skin and connecting it to the use of high frequencies in military weapons in an attempt to conflate the use of higher frequencies. Also referencing a self-professed alternative news website several times, with absolutely no credentials to it or any of its articles. I am starting to see a trend here.
Whoa, I love the writing though. Among the many potential problems with exposure to 5G radio waves are issues with the skin, which is interesting when you consider that this technology is already being used in the military for crowd control purposes. So, potential problems. Not problems, no, potential ones. And no clarification whatsoever what is meant with that. No sources either. You could get brown or pale from it, you could grow pimples or simply be visually so irritated by the antennas that you grow permanent goosebumps from them. And then this threatening revelation that it is already used by the military for crowd control purposes. Da, da, da. Which, aside from being wrong, also seems utterly besides the point.
They think that because the military use the same technology for weapon systems, that it means that is the same effect that technology will have when used commercially, in a completely different way. Be it burning skin or tapping into our brain waves through some kind of mind control. These claims are completely ludicrous, where it isn't even technology built into a weapon system or anything. It's a method of transferring data wirelessly. But do you think that our brain waves are running on EMF waves? Are you seriously postulating that there is some secret high-range frequency that can tap into our conscience? Or just that the very same form of communications that they too use is going to be used against us? Somehow distinguishing between who is and who isn't in the know. Again, it's just another method of transferring data wirelessly. It's used to improve businesses and office operations, improve the life in all aspects from home and work, affecting laptops, iPhones, and pimpled teenagers on their computers in their mother's basement, all the same. And improving Lisa's upload and download speed. So it would definitely assist her being an online content creator and all. How much do you want to bet that she also went on about 4G like this, and the moment 5G hits, she will start using it too? No problems at all. Does she not realize that most technological advancements were brought on through military research, then slowly became commercial over time? Oh, wait. I'm assuming her intelligence. Bad, NotJah. Bad.
I'm pretty sure that many things that the military developed or invented has a very different use within the military than it has for the common household. We don't use wristwatches to coordinate attacks to an enemy, and they certainly didn't use digital photography to take selfies and post them on the internet. So if you're really worried about the military, you might want to think about turning off the camera you're standing in front of. Come to think of it, DVD or Blu-ray players, they have lasers. And they use lasers in the military too. Oh no! My PlayStation is out to get me!
That's terrifying. Some of the crowd control systems that I've read about literally get you in a distance and you're pushed away because you feel that burst that can burn and radiate your body.
Lisa, with all due respect, you can't just randomly repurpose antennas for uses that require a completely different setup. And that aside, mass control is not depopulation. The weapon you're talking about is non-lethal. That means it's not supposed to kill you. So every policeman's handgun is more efficient and useful for the globalist depopulation whatever than this device is. And even if for a moment we were to assume that what you say is true and that these antennas are indeed used for population control, I would have a very hard time imagining how they could be used to stop people from procreating. I mean, how exactly would you want to achieve that? Would you put noise sensors all over the place so that they can alert you whenever someone wants to enjoy some leisure activities? And to be honest with you, these kind of population control ideas that you propose seem rather stupid and a waste of time and money, quite frankly. Because simply reducing someone's ability to critically think is no guarantee that they will actually think what you want them to think. Besides, history has taught us that there are much cheaper and much easier ways than antennas and chemicals and who knows what else to control a population. And that is using the population itself through enough propaganda, indoctrination, and fear-mongering. We have seen this several times in the past, for example in Soviet Russia, or we see it even nowadays in places like, for example, China. I mean, just look at your own country and at what the many religious institutions can get away with. And then tell me how many antennas they installed and how many chemicals they threw into your water.
And this is what they're putting every so many feet in America. Imagine the repercussions and the life-limiting abilities, which, by the way, they're not putting this in some other countries for a reason.
Well, let's start with the obvious first. Of course you wouldn't find antennas every however many feet anywhere outside of the United States. But you might see them every whatever many meters apart, because the only two places outside of the US that also don't use a metric system are Liberia and Myanmar, or what was formerly known as Burma. All underdeveloped nations, but the latter two are not even remotely close to producing 5G antennas, unlike the United States. There are efforts and plans to put up such antennas in Japan, China and South Korea, because they have a high demand for it and have the ability to begin installations. Most other places so far, though, either don't have the need for such change or advancements, or don't have a high enough interest for it. We're all too busy hunting kangaroos or surfing the actual waves rather than the interwebs.
But these are part of all the depopulation agents, and I've kind of gotten off topic.
Off topic is putting it mildly. This is our second reply video to you, and we're already a good 3 minutes and a half into your video, which is only 10 minutes long. And you didn't even start with your list yet.
Oh, Iseth, I gotta go.
Hey, you can't just leave me here alone with her.
Sorry, I gotta go. It's a very ungodly timing right now for such ungodly nonsense.
Hey, what's wrong with ungodly? Are you religious or something?
Hey, don't assume my religiosity or I'll go all Steve McRae on you. May he eternally sit well on his fence. Uh-oh.
NotJah? You still there?
Oh!
And now he hung up on me. Sometimes he's so rude he could pass for an Australian, that guy. Oh, and while I'm at it, you should totally subscribe to that New Zealander. Or Australian. Or whatever. And you totally should support me, because that's what awesome people do. All the links are in the descriptions below. And while you're already at it, please give the video a like and tell me in the comment section how often you really banged your head against the wall while watching the video. Let us see how many we get all together. Thank you all for watching. Have a great evening.
Natasha, stop drinking vodka.
Stop drinking vodka.
Enough with drinking the vodka.
Stop drinking vodka.
Stop drinking vodka.
We still have to invade Canada.
We still have to invade Canada.
We have to invade Canada.
Yeah, we still gotta invade Canada. Capiche?
All I wanna do is live!